Sekhetar robots of the Thousand Suns. Welcome, gentle listener, I am Baldermort, your faithful servant, and I wish to introduce you to the forces, factions, and war gear of the Warhammer 40k setting, the grim darkness of the far future, where there is no time for peace, there is only time for war. If you wish to see the channel flourish, then like and subscribe. But also consider joining our Patreon or throwing a one-off tip in the form of a super thanks, if I have indeed earned your bounty. And today, we shall discuss the newest horrors to join the ranks of the worshippers of Tzeentch, the dread sorcerers of the Thousand Suns. A call back to the times of the Legion and Great Crusade, these metallic monstrosities are not to be trifled with, nor taken lightly. Of course, I can only be speaking of the Sekhetar robots. As usual, the format to this video will be simple. A tale to set the mood, then the cold, hard, and brand spanking new lore of the topic. So, let us begin. From the Bold Library, Rivals. We muster the combined forces of so many true Astartes, the ones who cowed the galaxy entire and brought it to heel. A pity that the one holding the leash was so unworthy. Now he is a sad lich, sitting atop an artifact he barely understands, leeching life and radiance from enlightened ones to feed his broken body, to maintain his shattered and overstretched soul. So we muster, ostensibly under the banner of the unreasonable one, most beloved of the grandfather. We shall burn the galaxy when the final word is given. Yet why am I, Sekhetar, a true son of the great Crimson King, amongst such rabble? Especially beneath the penance of Nurgle, who is abhorred by my true lord, Tzeentch. Because of a lie, an offer, and a threat. The false one believes we need what he has to sell, that I will get down on my belly and crawl across glass to gain it. He knows that we yearn for the location of the elder repository of knowledge, their Black Library. But now, we do not. But we do not wish him or his master, masters, to know this. The Dark Council play at the great game as much as their father. The stooge walks as herald to the unreasonable one. He gathers all to the crusade. Yet, is he truly working for his acknowledged master, the Dark Council of the Bearers of the Word, or for himself? A savory conundrum to me, a tapestry of intent I mean to unravel thread by thread. So I play my part, the willing dupe. I feign indignance at the merest mention of the errant son of the Crimson King. This word-bearer sorcerer is not petty or mean. He is powerful, but his wiles outstrip his knowledge. His plans are solid, but not quicksilver. For he worships the great deceiver, but not to the exclusion of all others. Hence, we are the greater spiders, for we serve only he, the Lord of Lies, plots and plans. Secret knowledge is ours, not his. Despite this, he knew of our goal. He did not know that we had achieved it. That Isaac had penetrated the Black Library, knows the ways now. That Ahriman, who has welcomed back to the bosom of the king, the prodigal son returned. Yet he or they knew of our old intentions. We must discern how, and he can be cunning. Yet I can read him like a scroll. He needs my sorcerers, but he thinks he does not need me, the metaket. I feel the shroud of his malice closing around me, even here on my own ship. I scry for the moment of its realization. I set a trap for the hunters. I walk without my Sekhmet guard, alone to display my unshakable confidence. Striding to the bridge, I cross the expansive hall that would have been a cathedral if we were on a ship dedicated to the corpse god. Here there are the shrines of our forebears, the tabernacle dedicated to Tzeentch, expanses wide enough to carry our words into the warp, space enough to perform our highest rites in his name. And now it happens. Let us see what he has got. A snap resounds, echoing off every arch and bulkhead, declaring the beginning of the trial. Bolts tear through reality at me, and he would have slain me instantly, of course. I can smell the glyphs and wards on them as they hit the ground, rebounding off my invisible guards. I can tell that these bolts would have punctured my usual wards with ease, sliced through my soul and armor, as if they were forged of soup. Then I feel the all-too-familiar squall of energies as a rent is torn in reality. An outpour a cadre of enraged marines. The stench of blood rises. A wave of malice and fury crashes over me at their onset. There is no point in even attempting to read that which they do not have, a mind. I stop and smirk. Raising my hands high, I unravel the threads of my dweemers, and before me, around me, are my actual bodyguards. One is slightly damaged by the initial shots, but it stands firm as I flick my finger and its metals reform. I have 8 of them. Adding myself, this is the holy 9, one of the many numbers of my lord, but his most potent. I unleash a prayer and power, and a silent killer is sent to hunt down the assassin who assails me from range. It will find its soul and consume its heart. I need fear no more ranged attacks, but stand behind my bodyguards anyway. There is no reason to risk my bright and dripping soul, merely for show. There they stand, 4 before me, 1 at either side, 2 behind. Sekhetar robots. They unleash their firepower into oncoming raging maniacs. Hellfire missile racks unload, and their ire strikes true. 5 of the berserkers are punched off their feet, their armor pierced by the missiles. Then a mystic flame consumes them from within. All that remains of them is the smoke coming from their armor. The mindless marauders come on. One of my Sekhetar steps forward and fills the air before us with warp flame, consuming 2 more of the foe. Pyreflux melter shots come from the rest of my guards, bringing down more of them, their chests and heads, arms and legs, burnt off by the shots. Some still drag themselves forward by their chain axes. A mere 3 of the brutes reach our lines, slamming into the metallic wardens. They are faster, more furious, masters of the art of butchery. But my guard rise to the challenge. Their movements more smooth, matching the foe's speed as the threat to my person escalates. I could walk away, could tear my own escape into the warp, could erase these scum with a wave of a hand. But I do not. I revel in the activity of my guards, savor every second of it, knowing full well that he watches it all unfold. The last of the berserkers is slain by the power claws of my Sekhetar robots. Then they fall back and cover me from every angle, waiting. Good dogs. We hear the scream come from the first assassin as his heart explodes. Nothing more. Was that it? Was that it? Pathetic. He used the blood-soaked madman to throw me off the scent. As they are defeated, their nails go into overdrive, eviscerating their brains. Their souls go to corn. So I gain no proof of anything but an attempt on my life. But these warriors were not from the host of the 12th Legion, so they all but confirmed the genesis of the attack. Sarvak, the Butcher, is no target for me, nor me for he. It was the bearer of the word. Nothing is more certain. Not bad. Perhaps, if I had truly been alone, he might have achieved his goal. Might. Of course, I shall have to retort. Perhaps I should send some of my Sekhetar to his ship to introduce themselves. But then, even the unreasonable one would have to censure me for such a blatant assault. So, how to do it? How to gain my revenge? An exciting dish to prepare. One I will mull over in the days to come. Word bearer, you will rue the day you met me. So swears Zamet Haket. Ah, the contentious Sekhetar robots, loved by many, despised by some. But nothing is for everyone. Or, if attempted, it is for no one, as they say. The Sekhetar robots are a totally new design, but harkening back to the days and weaponry of the Legions, the Great Crusade, and the Horus Heresy. Now these are not actually the Castellax Achaea, the automata that were used by the Thousand Sons during their time as a legion, but their genesis is clearly in this general dint. As they are so very, very new, let us hear their lore from the horse's mouth, the new 10th edition codex for the Thousand Sons. To quote, Sekhetar robots. The soulless battle automata known as Sekhetar robots exemplify the Thousand Sons' self-confidence. Where the intermingling of warp power with cybernetic devices is viewed with repugnant horror in the Imperium, as in all things, Magnus's sons believe they know better. Sekhetar robots are looming mechanical constructs. They are often used by the sorcerers of the Thousand Sons as shrouded vanguard and lurking sentinels, primed to activate with deadly force at the correct conjunction of arcane triggers. Each Sekhetar robot is an intimidating presence, saturated with sorcerer's power, engraven in the image of ancient Prosperine spirits or tutelary demonic servants. While awaiting their master's command, sometimes motionless for centuries or millennia, they have been mistaken for elaborate statues, renderings of mythic chimeras from some heretic religion. Despite their bulk, Sekhetar robots can move stealthily into advanced positions, thanks to an agglomerate magical shroud. Their masters layer each robot's mechanical form with runes of misdirection and illusion. This aura masks their heavy tread in a susurrus of whispers, can twist glances in their direction to focus elsewhere, and even suppress or consume slivers of memory from those who manage a glimpse of the actual threat they pose. Across the millennia, sorcerers of the Thousand Sons, with the knowledge to create and control Sekhetar robots, or with the ability to manipulate a peer who has, have positioned them at sites of power or fate. They have been set amidst feral populations of humans or xenos, emanating a subtle radiance that has altered the course of the host society's progress along lines that will ultimately benefit the Thousand Sons. Others are set to guard hidden caches of their master's powerful artifacts. Some are positioned in locations where, their master has divined, they will have need of them in some future time if fate can be forced to branch that way, ready to serve his will in a deadly ambush. Psychically controlled by their Thousand Sons master, Sekhetar robots enforce his labyrinthine schemes at arm's length and, in extremis, shield him with their durable metallic and ceramite forms that are bolstered by kind shielding and esoteric enchantments of vigilance. On the march, Sekhetar robots are slow, deliberate, and relentless, but when reacting to threats to their master, they can be horrifically agile. Threaded through their mechanism and their logic cortexes are spells of prophecy and auto-divination that enable them to anticipate dangers even their master is unaware of. Sekhetar robots will suddenly lurch to one side, absorbing a sniper's shot intended for their Magister ward. They will stride into the path of screaming shells and block blade thrusts with their armored limbs, acts that would be selfless if the Sekhetar were anything more than controlled tools. It is not just in passive reactions that these constructs obey their sorcerer's programming. Preemptive data looms within their cortexes weave a constant litany of fate severance protocols for them to select from. Everything a Sekhetar robot observes is subject to oracular scrutiny to determine the number of efficient options by which it may be erased from future existence. Whether directed in active annihilation by their master or acting to eliminate a future threat, Sekhetar robots are ruthlessly thorough. They use hellfire missiles fired from fluted racks to strike at distant targets, sending volleys of compact warheads which detonate amongst their master's foes in explosions of empiric light. Enemies attempting to close with the sneering sorcerer are engulfed in billowing gouts of warp flame or are transmuted into bubbling pools of iridescent sludge by the hissing beams of the robot's pyre-flux melter guns. Sekhetar robots represent a continuance of the Thousand Sons' application of their psychic arts to matters of control and domination. In the aftermath of the terrifying rubric, the Thousand Sons turn to many possibilities in their attempts to swell the power and numbers within their thrall bands. Some experiments failed catastrophically. Psychic manipulation of the Thousand Sons' genetic material resulted in all manner of abominations, as the feared curse of the flesh change reared its head in countless guises. Many were the experiments that ended up absorbing their creators in rapidly ballooning growths of flesh, bone, fangs, and less identifiable biological matter. Other attempts focused instead on creating servants who were immune to such mutation by possessing no flesh at all. Sekhetar robots are amongst the most widespread results of such tinkering. Many are forged by heretic magi of the Dark Mechanicum, utilizing arcane schematics developed by their kindred technologists who fled the Imperium with the Thousand Sons 10 millennia ago. Others are said to have a genesis in cryptic secrets stolen by the Thousand Sons from Mendringard, while some are forged by the sorcerers themselves, utilizing pyrokinetic powers to shape and meld cursed adamantine and ferrocite into the desired shapes. The mages of the Thousand Sons are scrupulous about the servile purity of these battle automata. So steeped in corrupting sorcery are these robots by the proximity of their masters, the emissions from sortiarias, and the countless artifacts and sites of arcane power that the Thousand Sons direct them to guard, that there is always a risk of demonic possession. Such entities ever seek a way into the material universe to indulge in anarchic devastation and fluctuating ruin, and the slightest chink can offer them a route. The sorcerers of the Thousand Sons deal with the entities of the warp frequently, confident that their sorcery and empiric knowledge grant them a superior position in any bargain. Yet no scion of Magnus the Red would willingly invite a demon to serve as guardian. To trust one's soul to a lethal war construct inhabited by a sentience formed of lies, deceit, and betrayal would be suicidal. Sorcerers who maintain such robotic guardians, therefore, frequently reinforce the wards laid upon Sekhetar robots. They purge their hammer wafers, rewrite obedience protocols according to occult cycles, and ruthlessly gouge from the robots' cortexes any hint of burgeoning sentience, whatever its source. End quote. As we have heard, these are not the same as the Castellax Achaea, but of a similar vein. The Achaea were robotica that marched with the Legion, their bodies containing psychoactive systems that permitted them to be used as a foci for the powers of the sorcerers or librarius of the Thousand Suns. In this way, they could extend the range of their powers, the wizard hiding behind their bulk or even fully out of sight, but connected to the metallic beasts so they could use them to fire off their witch flame and other effects. And I can attest that those robotica are both handy for the wizard and meaty in combat, though hardly overpowered. But now they return in the grim darkness of the far future, and in a rather interesting vision. Obviously different to the lumbering automata of their previous form, they now have the visage of metallic Zangor, if you enjoy that sort of design pathway and aesthetic. In any case, they act as bodyguards, as we have heard, and their firepower is nothing to sniff at, I can assure you. Their base weaponry loadout is the heavy warp flamer, a hellfire missile pack, and a hyperflux melter gun, with a close combat weapon as well. This can be upgraded to the Power Claw. They are a truly versatile force for any wizard warlord. The missiles are heavy and long-ranged, each one being able to punch through the armor of even a Gravis Primaris and annihilate them where they stand. When the foe gets in close, they face a torrent of fire from the flamers, and if a lord, dreadnought or vehicle make a plunge towards your central leaders, they are met with the formidable firepower of the melter guns. Their forms are made of ceramite and festooned with mystic scrolls of wards and protections. Able to scan the strands of the future for potential threats, these are indeed the mightiest bodyguards in all of the setting, and this should be no surprise whatsoever to any who understand the Thousand Suns. Never a multitudinous congregation, even before the slaughter at Prospero, and shattered even further by the rubric of Arzek Ahriman. Their sorceress leadership are the rarest of all Astartes, be they loyalist or traitor. Hence, they are eminent candidates for such a powerful system for their own protection. Now, there may have been some controversy over their silhouettes, as some have thought that they should more resemble the Castellax of yore. Others disagree with the use of Zangors as the template for their aesthetic, a touchy subject for many collectors of this army. Let's not question the inspiration on this one, though. But when all is said and done, they are something completely new, and the first real showings of originality from the Dark Mechanicum, the ones who fled Prospero with their allies all those millennia ago. Love them or hate them, none can ignore them. And these lithe brutes will add some backbone to the forces of the Crimson King. I have been Baldermort, your faithful servant. Like and subscribe, tip if I've earned your bounty. And do check out the video description for other entertainment opportunities and links to making savings on games. But most importantly of all, no matter what you do today, do try to make some time for fun. Toodaloo.